so much for joining me here today. I am happy to be chatting with new friends, Peter and Felice Hardy from Winchester, Great Britain. And they are avid ski enthusiasts as well as massive travelers. I'm super jealous. So we're going to be talking about all things skiing and travel today. So thanks for joining Talking Travel with Wendy, and welcome.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here with you.
Yeah, it's really exciting for us.
I love that you're across the pond, and we used to say, how long does it take to get across the pond? And today it's just one Zoom call away.
Exactly.
How long have you just loved skiing and hiking and biking?
Well, I've skied since I was 3 years old.
I skied since I was about 12, so I'm the latecomer.
Okay.
And we have a job. Well, we have had a job for years where we managed to do lots of skiing, which is great.
Well, tell me about that.
Well, it really is quite a lot of skiing. I go most weeks during the winter. We come and go, hopefully together. Not always. Sometimes we pass in the night, but a lot of time we go away together. And I guess in sort of average winter, I used to sort of ski for maybe 100 days, but now it's half that. And we still get about sort of 8 weeks skiing. That's quite a lot by most people's standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
We get to go to a lot of places. It's good fun. It's called making a living out of what you like doing. But we also like going to warm places as well.
And we also love going to the Alps and the Rockies in summer for hiking.
Okay.
And other sports.
And cycling and just about everything. And eating. Never forget eating.
Of course. That's like half the fun of traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. The question we always get asked is, what's the best ski resort in the world? And, you can't meet anyone without them. After about half an hour, they say to you, oh, Peter, please, what's the best ski resort in the world? And the answer, there are lots of answers. And my stock answer is to say, well, it could be almost anywhere. Some of the best days skiing we've had have been in the most remote places that no one's ever heard of. But basically, if you go up the mountain, you wake up in the morning and it's a sunny day and it's snowed about maybe 20 inches overnight, and the sun is shining from a blue sky, and the ice crystals are dancing in the air, and it's so cold, and you go up the mountain and you're with friends and lunch looks promising. That's the best ski resort in the world.
So basically it's whichever ski resort you're at.
Yeah, it helps if the weather's good and you can see where you're going. And I like a pretty resort too. I mean, everywhere has great scenery, but it's nice. There's some of the, one of my favorites is Zermatt in Switzerland. Which
yes.
Really quaint chalets, wooden chalets, and Kitzbühel in Austria is another one, because they're really beautiful.
Now, Zermatt, aren't those more difficult trails as well?
They are in Zermatt, but Kitzbühel, which is equally beautiful, has a lot easier skiing.
Okay.
Kitzbühel is famous for the Hahnenkamm race, which is the toughest downhill on the World Cup circuit. But when it's not prepared for racing, it's actually a sort of family ski run. It's just sort of cover it in ice and put the jumps in. It gets really dangerous and difficult.
I was going to say there's lots of easier skiing in Austria, and all the villages are so pretty. And there's lots of atmosphere, which you don't always get in the more modern resorts.
And then there's what is our actual favorite resort, not the stock answer, but the actual favorite resort. And it is unquestionably Jackson Hole in Wyoming.
We love it because it has great atmosphere. It's a cowboy town. You see elk walking around, and
a moose, occasional moose.
Yeah, sometimes the moose want to avoid those. And it's just really just full of atmosphere and lots of lovely little shops and restaurants. Great skiing. I mean, it's quite difficult skiing, but we did take one of our kids learnt to ski there, so there is skiing for beginners as well. Yeah, we've skied in Japan and we've skied in Chile as well.
Okay.
And Japan is amazing. You've got to like sushi, and you've got to like the baths. They have onsen baths, which are in hot springs, and you take all your clothes off. They're single sex, but you take all your clothes off, everyone together, to go in, and that's what people do. in the evening. That's a sort of
Yeah, I got used to all of that when we lived in Germany, but some of my American friends are still quite skittish about doing that. But after about 5 seconds, nobody really cares and everybody's doing
That's
it. You just go with it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes in Japan too, they have, especially on Hokkaido, the North Island, they have these hot springs on the mountainside. So you're going down a ski run, you go through some woods, down a meadow, and there is a little pool of bath temperature water.
Wow.
And people just stop and just strip all their clothes off and get in and sit around in there for a while. And then that's okay. Getting out is the hard bit.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to put the clothes back on. It's
In Chile, there are because you ski on a volcano. We skied on a volcano, or just at the base of the volcano. So again, all the boiling hot water is piped into the swimming pools, the hotel swimming pools.
well, not boiling hot, but it's
not boiling, but
yeah.
hot.
Well, enough for bath.
Yeah.
Yeah. I bet that's really invigorating though, being in the cold and then going into those hot springs.
And out again.
Yeah. And out again.
So we love going to all sorts of different countries to ski because every single one is so different from each other.
And Felice, who do you work for?
Well, I write on a freelance basis for almost every national newspaper in the UK and some of the lifestyle magazines.
Okay.
Like Condé Nast Traveler, Tatler, House and Garden, all these different things. But also together, Peter and I have a ski website called welovetosski.com, which is like an online magazine with lots and lots of information about over 100 different resorts around the world. So people can go on there and find out where to stay, where to eat.
Yeah, it's really a wonderful website. I'm so glad I checked it out. And because as I was telling you the other day, I have quite a few clients who are very interested in skiing and I just don't know enough. So I'm so happy to talk to professionals who do.
So you can go on there and find out everything.
Well, and they can sign up for your podcast too. And the podcast is called...
Now, the podcast is not connected with We Love
Okay.
Ski. It's called Action Packed. Action Packed Travel is the full name. So the website is actionpackedtravel.com.
Okay.
And you can listen to the podcast on iTunes and Spotify and all those places. And it's a new venture for us. We started it in March.
Okay.
And it's not just skiing, it's travel worldwide. And we interview interesting people who've been inspired by their travels, like you, Wendy.
Yeah.
And I think we've had about 12 episodes so far, and a lot more lined up, and some really interesting people.
The first person to fly a hot air balloon over Everest, for example.
Oh, wow.
We've
I don't
had
know.
some explorers who've been to the North and the South Pole, and we've had a man that kayaked from Greenland to Scotland.
My favorite was a jewelry expert who she's quite well known here because she appears on a TV show, and she's one of the world's most famous gemologists. She finds...
I love that episode. I listened to that. It was so fascinating. I had no idea all of that went into gemology. I mean, I really didn't. I just took it all for granted. Like they found a stone. I realized there was some science behind it, but not as much as the episode shared. Wow.
I worked in radio once many years ago, and in those days you cut up audio tape with a razor blade and Scotch tape.
Yeah. These young people, they just get on there and know right away, intuitively. Makes me so mad.
It's fun learning too.
Yeah. And one of the things that I have really enjoyed about creating the podcast and joining the podcast community is how helpful and friendly everyone is. Have you found that to be true?
I found that as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
It's amazing how helpful people are.
Well, if you were working for a newspaper right now, and we were working for a newspaper right now, we wouldn't be appearing in each other's newspapers talking about like this. Because that would not be allowed. But podcasts, it's all one community, and everyone's working with each other.
Yeah, everyone wants to help each other. It's amazing.
Yeah. Have you ever faced bad weather that has canceled a trip?
Well, usually they're not cancelled, but we've been to Austria once in December, and when we got there, It was to see all these new chalets that had just opened. When we got there was no snow at all, so no one could go skiing. So that's one of the problems. And the other problem is too much snow. So you can have that and you can be stuck not being able to get into the resort or not being able to get out.
Or not being able to ski too, because if it's too much snow, the lifts are closed because of avalanche danger.
So the best skiing is when you have the right amount of snow, not too little, not too much. And we always say to people, you need to go to a resort that has very reliable snow. That's so you don't want to go to one too low down. And I know Peter's favorite resort is Val d'Isère in France.
Well, I do work for them, actually. I must confess I do the marketing for them.
But it always has plenty of snow, always. And so it's a resort we go to a lot.
And in these troubled times, you have to look at occupations that are relatively safe. And skiing, you actually get up in the morning and you put on a face mask and you put on goggles and you have gloves on and you go on a transfer bus, coach to get to the slopes. You're completely safe. And then when you go up the lift now, you have to wear a mask when you go on the lift.
Have you ever had challenges with bringing your equipment, flying with your equipment? Maybe they don't show up or partially?
Yes, I once left the UK. As the plane went up in the air, I could see my skis and in their bag down on the ground. They'd forgotten them, they'd left them behind. And then when you get to the other end, you have to fill in all these forms and things, and finally your skis sort of catch up with you, but not necessarily the same day. And you could be going somewhere quite remote, and it's quite hard for someone to deliver the skis to you.
You actually had a worse one than that in non-skiing in Johannesburg.
Oh yes, I once went to South Africa. My suitcase didn't arrive. And I got there. It was a trip with a very tight itinerary. So we went to Johannesburg the first day. The next day we went on a safari. And then after that we went to Cape Town, and we were moving every day.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, my suitcase didn't arrive and I had nothing with me apart from what I was standing up in. And when we arrived at our hotel in Johannesburg, the person who was the sort of guide said, if everyone would like to freshen up, have a shower, get changed, we're going to go straight out sightseeing. So everyone could do this apart from me. I had to go out in the clothes I'd been wearing on the flight, and I felt sort of yucky. And in the end, I had to go, the guide had to take some time out to take me shopping so I could buy some clothes, because I didn't know when my suitcase would arrive, and we were going on a safari the next day.
Oh, wow.
So people lent me things to wear. Anyway, the suitcase never turned up. Just never turned up again.
Never been seen since.
Never been seen again.
After that, I can tell you she always puts her sunglasses and important things in her hand luggage.
So have you had to rent equipment ever when you travel, or have you decided to rent equipment?
Always own your own boots. So we own our own boots always. And I like to travel with skis, but it's becoming more and more difficult because you have to pay quite a lot of money to travel with skis now. The airlines charge you. But otherwise, we rent skis. It depends where we're going. If you're going to a well-known resort, then it's easy to rent skis. If you're going to somewhere obscure, you can be pretty strange.
Yeah, we try and take our own stuff whenever we can. And if we're going in Europe, we sometimes drive, or go by train, and then you can easily take your whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining me here today. I really enjoyed talking with you, and I absolutely look forward to a follow-up interview to see where we are, maybe in a couple months, and maybe before you can start skiing again.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be great. Well, thank you very much for having us on the show.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
It's been lovely.
Hi, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have much more content on my website, travelwithwendy.net, and you can also support this channel by becoming a Patreon patron. The links are below. Remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy.